Let me ask you something deeply honest, and I want you to answer in the comments if this resonates. Have you ever tried to pray, and instead of feeling God's presence, you suddenly feel overwhelmed by your own emotions? You sit down to pray, and before you can even say, "Lord," something rises in you, a wave of sadness, a flash of anger, a knot of anxiety, a heaviness you can't explain, a numbness that makes you feel disconnected, a memory you thought you buried, a feeling you don't have words for. And suddenly prayer feels impossible. If you've ever felt this, type in the comments, "That's me." You're not alone, and your honesty will help someone else feel seen. Here's the truth most people never hear: your emotions are not interrupting your prayer, they are your prayer. Your emotions are not a distraction. Your emotions are not a sign of spiritual immaturity. Your emotions are not proof that you're not ready to pray. Your emotions are signals. Your emotions are invitations. Your emotions are information. Your emotions are the language of your heart. And God is not asking you to silence them. He's asking you to bring them. If this already feels like a relief, tap like, so this message reaches someone who needs emotional permission today. Because here's the truth: stillness doesn't reveal your emotions, prayer does. When you slow down, your heart finally has space to speak. When you get quiet, the things you've been carrying rise to the surface. When you turn toward God, the parts of you that need healing come forward. This is not failure. This is formation. This is not interruption. This is invitation. This is not emotional chaos. This is emotional honesty. And emotional honesty is the birthplace of spiritual intimacy. If you're ready to learn how to pray through emotional overwhelm, not around it, comment, "Teach me how." Let's begin. Why emotions get loud when you try to pray. Let's start with something that will change the way you see yourself. Your emotions get louder during prayer because prayer creates space, and space reveals what's been buried. Most people think emotions rise during prayer because they're not focused enough, or not spiritual enough. But the truth is far more compassionate. Prayer slows you down enough to feel what you've been avoiding. Think about your day. You're busy. You're moving. You're multitasking. You're pushing through. You're surviving. You're functioning. You're doing what needs to be done. And your emotions, the ones you don't have time to process, get pushed down. Not because you're weak. Not because you're in denial. But because life is demanding. Then you sit down to pray. You breathe. You pause. You turn inward. You open your heart. And suddenly, everything you've been carrying rises to the surface. Not to overwhelm you. Not to punish you. Not to distract you. But because your heart finally feels safe enough to speak. If this resonates, comment, "My heart speaks when I slow down." Your emotions are not random, they are messengers. Emotions don't show up without purpose. Sadness reveals what needs comfort. Anger reveals what needs boundaries. Anxiety reveals what needs reassurance. Numbness reveals what needs awakening. Fear reveals what needs safety. Shame reveals what needs compassion. Grief reveals what needs space. Confusion reveals what needs clarity. Your emotions are not the enemy of your prayer life. They are the doorway into deeper prayer. If you've ever felt guilty for feeling emotional during prayer, type, "I release the guilt." Prayer doesn't trigger emotions, it reveals them. This is important. Prayer doesn't create emotional overwhelm, it exposes emotional overload. Your emotions were already there. Prayer simply gave them room to breathe. This is why David cried out in the Psalms. This is why Hannah wept in the temple. This is why Jesus sweat drops of blood in Gethsemane. Prayer is not the place where emotions disappear. Prayer is the place where emotions are transformed. If you want God to transform your emotions, comment, "Transform me, Lord." Emotional flooding is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of honesty. When your emotions rise during prayer, it means you're not numbing. You're not suppressing. You're not pretending. You're not performing. You're not hiding. It means you're being real. And God can only heal what you're willing to feel. Psalm chapter 62 verse 8 says, "Pour out your heart before Him." Not present your heart neatly. Not organize your emotions first. Not come when you're calm. Pour out your heart. If you're ready to pour out your heart, comment, "I'm ready." Your emotions are not too much for God. Let me say this clearly. God is not overwhelmed by your overwhelm. He is not intimidated by your intensity. He is not surprised by your tears. He is not offended by your anger. He is not disappointed by your sadness. He is not distant from your numbness. He is near to the brokenhearted. He is close to the crushed in spirit. He is gentle with overwhelmed. He is patient with the emotional. He is compassionate with the hurting. If you need that reminder, comment, "God is gentle with me," naming your emotions as an act of prayer. Now that we understand why emotions rise during prayer, let's talk about what to do when they do. Because here's the truth, you cannot heal what you refuse to name. You cannot surrender what you cannot identify. You cannot transform what you will not acknowledge. Naming your emotions is not weakness. Naming your emotions is not self-indulgent. Naming your emotions is not being in your feelings. Naming your emotions is spiritual honesty. If you're ready to be honest with God, comment, "I'm ready to name it." The name, notice, invite method. This is one of the simplest and most powerful emotional prayer tools you will ever learn. It's gentle. It's biblical. It's trauma-aware. It's emotionally intelligent. And it works. Let's break it down. 1. Name it. Say the emotion out loud or in your heart. Lord, I feel anxious. Lord, I feel sad. Lord, I feel angry. Lord, I feel numb. Lord, I feel overwhelmed. Lord, I feel lonely. Lord, I feel confused. Naming the emotion brings it out of the shadows and into the light. This is what David did in the Psalms. This is what Hannah did in the temple. This is what Jesus did in Gethsemane. Naming your emotion is not complaining, it's confessing. If you're willing to name one emotion today, comment, "I feel blank," only if you feel safe to share. 2. Notice it. This step is about awareness, not judgment. Ask yourself, where do I feel this in my body? Is my chest tight? Is my stomach heavy? Are my shoulders tense? Is my breathing shallow? Do I feel numb or disconnected? Your body often feels emotions before your mind understands them. Noticing the emotion helps you stay grounded instead of overwhelmed. If this step resonates, comment, "I'm learning to notice." 3. Invite God into it. This is where transformation begins. Pray, "Lord, meet me here. Lord, sit with me in this feeling. Lord, help me understand this emotion. Lord, hold my heart. Lord, show me the root. Lord, help me release what I'm carrying." You don't have to fix the emotion. You don't have to solve it. You don't have to push it away. You simply invite God into it. If you want God to meet you in your emotions, comment, "Meet me here, Lord." why this method works. Because it aligns with how the brain and heart work. Naming reduces emotional intensity, noticing grounds your nervous system, inviting God creates spiritual safety. This is emotional discipleship. This is heart-level prayer. This is spiritual maturity. If this method feels doable, comment, "I can do this." Praying through emotional overwhelm. Now let's talk about what to do when your emotions feel too big, too heavy, or too loud to pray through. Because sometimes emotions don't just rise, they flood. And when emotional flooding happens, your brain shifts into survival mode, your thoughts race. Your chest tightens. Your breathing changes. Your focus disappears. Your body tenses. Your mind shuts down. And prayer feels impossible. But here's the truth. You don't have to pray perfectly when you're overwhelmed, you just have to pray honestly. Let's walk through 4 emotional healing prayer practices that work beautifully when your heart is overloaded. 1. Lament prayer. God, this hurts. Lament is not complaining. Lament is worship in the language of pain. It sounds like, God, I don't understand. God, this is heavy. God, I feel forgotten. God, I'm hurting. God, I need you. Lament is the most common form of prayer in the Psalms. If you've ever felt like crying during prayer, comment, "My tears are prayers too." 2. Journaling prayer. Let me write what I can't say. Sometimes your emotions are too tangled to speak. Writing helps. Slow your thoughts. Organize your feelings. Release emotional pressure. Create clarity. Make space for God's voice. Write one sentence. God, today I feel blank because blank. If journaling helps you process emotions, comment. Writing helps me pray. 3. God, show me the root prayer. This is a powerful prayer for emotional patterns. Say, Lord, show me where this feeling is coming from. Often the emotion you feel is not the emotion at the root. Anger may hide hurt. Anxiety may hide fear. Numbness may hide exhaustion. Sadness may hide grief. Irritation may hide overwhelm. God reveals what you're ready to heal. If you want God to show you the root, comment, "Show me the root." 4. Hold my heart prayer. This is one of the most comforting prayers you can pray. Place your hand over your heart and say, "Lord, hold my heart." This prayer calms your nervous system, grounds your emotions, softens your body, creates safety, invites God's presence. If you've ever needed God to hold you, comment, "Hold me, Lord." Why these practices work? Because they meet you where you are, not where you should be. God doesn't need you to be composed. God doesn't need you to be calm. God doesn't need you to be emotionally tidy. He needs you to be honest. If this episode is speaking to you, comment, "This is helping me." Building emotional resilience through prayer rhythms. Now that we've talked about naming emotions and praying through emotional overwhelm, let's talk about something deeper. How do you build emotional resilience so your emotions don't hijack your prayer life every time? Because here's the truth, you don't need to eliminate your emotions. You need to build the capacity to hold them with God. Emotional resilience is not suppressing your feelings, pretending you're okay, forcing yourself to be strong, ignoring your pain, pushing through without processing. Emotional resilience is staying present with your emotions, staying connected to God in the middle of them, staying grounded instead of overwhelmed, staying honest instead of shutting down, staying open instead of closing off. If you want to grow in emotional resilience, comment, "I want to grow." Let's walk through 4 practices that build emotional resilience through prayer. 1. The return prayer rhythm. This is one of the simplest and most powerful emotional resilience tools. Every time your emotions rise, simply say, "Here I am, Lord," not "fix me," not "take this away," not "make me calm," not "help me focus," just "Here I am." This prayer teaches your heart to return to God instead of running from your emotions. If this resonates, comment, "Here I am, Lord." 2. Emotional check-ins with God. Once a day, pause and ask, "Lord, what am I feeling right now?" Then wait. Let your heart answer. Let your body answer. Let your spirit answer. This builds emotional awareness, the foundation of emotional resilience. If you want to start doing daily emotional check-ins, comment, "I'm checking in." 3. The 2-minute sit with it practice. When a strong emotion rises, instead of pushing it away, sit with it for 2 minutes. Say, "Lord, I'm sitting with this feeling. Be with me." This teaches your nervous system that emotions are not emergencies. They are experiences. If you're willing to try this, comment, "I can sit with it." 4. Scripture-anchored emotional grounding. Choose one scripture that grounds you emotionally. Examples: "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. When my heart is overwhelmed, lead me to the rock. Cast your cares on him. Be still and know, he restores my soul." Repeat it when emotions rise. Scripture becomes your anchor. Your anchor becomes your rhythm. Your rhythm becomes your resilience. If you want me to create a scripture grounding card set, comment, "Scripture cards, please." Why emotional resilience matters. Because emotional resilience doesn't eliminate emotional overwhelm, it transforms your relationship with it. Instead of being hijacked by your emotions, you learn to pause. Breathe. Name. Notice. Invite. Return. This is emotional maturity. This is spiritual maturity. This is healing. If this is speaking to you, comment, "I'm healing." God meets you in the depth of your emotions. Let's bring everything together. You may have spent years believing that your emotions were a problem, that your tears were a sign of weakness, that your anger made you unspiritual, that your anxiety made you faithless, that your numbness made you disconnected from God, that your sadness made you unstable, that your overwhelm made you unworthy. But today, I want you to hear this clearly. Your emotions are not too much for God. Your emotions are not a barrier to prayer. Your emotions are not a sign of spiritual immaturity. Your emotions are the doorway to deeper intimacy with God. Let's recap what we've learned. 1. Emotions rise during prayer because prayer creates space. Your heart finally has room to speak. Your emotions are not interruptions, they are invitations. If this truth freed you, comment, "My emotions are invitations." 2. Naming your emotions is an act of prayer. Name, notice, invite. This is emotional honesty. This is spiritual courage. This is heart-level prayer. If you're ready to practice this, comment, "I will name it." 3. You can pray through emotional overwhelm. Lament prayer. Journaling prayer. Root revealing prayer. Hold my heart prayer. These practices meet you where you are, not where you should be. If one of these stood out to you, comment which one. 4. Emotional resilience comes through rhythms, not suppression. Return prayer. Emotional check-ins. 2-minute sit with it practice. Scripture grounding. These rhythms teach your heart to stay open instead of shutting down. If you're ready to build emotional resilience, comment, "I'm building resilience." Closing word. You don't need to hide your emotions from God. You don't need to silence them. You don't need to get it together before you pray. You don't need to be emotionally tidy to be spiritually connected. Bring God your sadness, your anger, your fear, your numbness, your overwhelm, your confusion, your grief, your longing. Bring Him the real you. Because God doesn't meet the version of you that pretends. He meets the version of you that feels. And every time your emotions rise, every time your heart aches, every time your tears fall, every time your chest tightens, every time your mind spirals, you can simply say, Lord, meet me here, and He will. If this episode blessed you, comment, "This helped me."